I'm Davy. I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Movies, where I review the styles of movies that are the alternative B-rated cult-style flicks. And third year in a row, I've been doing the Universal Monsters. And this is the last of the initial Universal Monsters. Basically, after this one, all there is just like single monster stories or sequels and stuff like that, which I will get more into next year. Next week, I will have something else for you, but this week, let's get into the final one. The one, in my opinion, is the most underappreciated. This movie came out in 1954, and it was directed by Jack Arnold, and written by Harry Essex, Arthur Ross, and Maurice Zimm, and produced by William Alland, and of course made and distributed by Universal Pictures. Ladies and gentlemen, The Creature from the Black Lagoon. The movie opens with a voice talking about how the world was created. And then after we get through all that stuff, we see an archaeologist, and he has found something. Something big. A rock wanting a low 5. This Dr. Carl Maria says he's taking this hand to the Institute because he's going to need help uncovering more.
You be gone long?
Long enough to find out what this is.
But not long enough to where these Amazon native tribesmen are played by non-white people. But now... Oh, you know that's bad because of the music. Dr. Carl goes to see a Dr. David Reed, played by Richard Carlson, and his fiancée, Kay Lawrence, played by Julie Adams. Although in this she was going by Julia. The two of them were in Brazil studying marine biology. Nerds. Dr. Carl wants to know if David maybe has any idea where that hand may have come from. Of course he does not. But David goes with Carl to the Institute, where everybody is marveling over Dr. Carl's find. This could be a missing link of humans and sea life. So David and Kay, among the other scientists, they want to go to the Amazon and start digging with Dr. Carl.
Dr. Maya, you've got yourself an expedition.
Good.
Yay! Not really. Are you going to show that hand every time you transition? I mean, it's not the worst reused clip to show in transitions. Yeah. Now we go back to the Amazon, to those two workers waiting for Dr. Carl in their tent.
No! No!
You couldn't even try to move? At least he grabbed a stick. Now we go to the expedition on their way back to where Dr. Carl left off, and they are talking about the sea life.
Everything in this jungle, all killers.
Well, sign me up! Once they get back to the camp...
I think maybe jaguar.
I get why you would think that, but it's not a jaguar. It's the Gilman. Even though two people are tragically dead, they just go about digging! But after 8 days of digging, turn up with nothing. But David gets the idea that maybe this just washed up here and got stuck. Maybe they should explore somewhere else.
My boys call it the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, I would never swim in an area called a Black Lagoon. Because with a name like that, you know there's going to be creatures. Just like I wouldn't swim in a Blue Lagoon. Because with a name like that, you know there's going to be naked preteens. And I wouldn't swim in a Green Lagoon either. It's probably where people poop. You know what? Let's just not swim in any lagoons. Let's just stick with pools. They've got chlorine. Cleans things. David and Dr. Mark go down in the water to explore. I wouldn't. I mean, I'm just saying, you didn't hear him earlier. Everything in that water wants to kill you. Especially the creature, which they later do give a name to. The Gill Man. Sure. But it is sitting there, waiting, stalking, following their every movement, hoping that one of them brought ding-dongs. It's what I would do. Especially if I were that thing. I mean, it doesn't eat people, it just kills them for being around. And I can respect that. But in this case, it just lets them get up in the boat with some samples.
And this, something for you.
Oh.
How sweet. Everyone goes to test these samples, and Kay decides that she wants to go for a swim. It's funny to think there was a time that bathing suit was considered risque. Now, if you went to the beach wearing that swimsuit, everybody would look at you and go like, what are you, Mormon? While she is swimming, the Gilman touches her foot. Because apparently it's got a fetish. So she dives down to see what it is. Not for nothing, but I'm just saying, if I'm swimming in a lagoon, the ocean, a lake, whatever, and something touches my foot, I don't swim down to see what it is. I swim away.
What are you doing out there? Come on back!
Dumbass. After she gets back in the boat, something gets caught in their net. Something strong as it is tipping the boat, almost making it capsize. But eventually it stops and they pull the net up and there's a hole in the net. Not only that, but they find something in the rope.
It's amazing.
By the way, that's what touched your foot, idiot. Everybody else wants to go and examine this, but not Mark. He wants to get back in there and explore this because he's more interested in money and fame than he is in science. Because, you know, there's always that person. Then again, you can't really say it's cliche because by this point, not really. So when they get back in the water, they find it, and... well, I guess Dad, this is the end. See ya. Oh, it only kind of irritated the Gilman. Which makes sense. There is like 40 more minutes of this movie. When they get back up, they of course tell everybody else what they saw, and everybody else is like, yeah, whatever. We don't really necessarily believe you. David had a picture, but it didn't show up. It's before camera phones, so you had to sit there and go through a whole process to find out that your picture was crap. But either way, these people are like, we're not believing what you saw until we get proof. Good enough? Sadly, though, there was only one person who saw it.
My brother was dragged down into the water by a demon.
Feel fortunate, dude. I've wished that would happen to my brother many times.
You shut up!
They go about doing whatever they can to capture the Gilman alive. The stuff they're putting in there is supposed to basically knock fish out. It's not really how that works, but either way, it makes a lot of fish go belly up, but doesn't do anything to the Gilman. That night... damn lamp!
There he is!
The Gilman does not like the spotlight, so it dives in the water and swims off, and David and Mark decide to go swim to where they saw it take off. Idiots.
That's where he went under. I'm going to take a look. You wait here.
I reiterate, idiots. Even though Mark told David to stay, David decides to swim off anyway, finds a little underwater cave.
Take it easy.
Let me just state for the record, not all Davids would do this. I personally know some Davids who would not only stay put, but actually head back and be like, you know what, I'm going home. I'm that David. The Gilman goes around the back of the cave and sees Kay. You don't fight much, do you? But as the Gilman is about to take Kay away, Mark and David show up.
We got him! Don't kill him!
Really? It just tried to run off with your fiancé. I dare to say your engagement is off. They trap the Gilman in a cage, a little makeshift cage, and then David and Mark decide to go study the grotto. At night, even though they probably wouldn't be able to see much. Kay and Dr. Edwin are talking, when suddenly...
And another thing.
Yeah, this thing ripped through a net and almost tipped over an entire boat, but you thought it was going to be held there by some bamboo. It attacks Edwin. He's flaming! The next morning, Edwin is alive, but in very critical condition. So David suggests they leave. They are not prepared to handle this. They came to dig up fossils, not fight monsters.
Later, we can come back with a properly equipped expedition.
I kind of feel like that's the way everybody else would go. Like, okay, we found this, keep it quiet, and let's come back with some better equipment and better help. Captain Lucas agrees with David and is about to set sail to get out of there when he is stopped by Mark.
You wish to say something, mister? Eh?
I think Mark is now convinced that he should just come back later with more men and better equipment. But as they're leaving... Move back! Move back! Finally, we know what this thing is! It's a prehistoric beaver! They try to connect a cable to the surface of that tree and get it out, but that's not working. They're going to have to go underneath. A little close, don't you think there, buddy? Gilman is pretty unfazed and it grabs Mark and pulls him down. So now David has to save Mark. Davy wouldn't. Well, did that save Mark? No, it didn't. So now nobody is stopping you. Swim away, go home. Problem is, though, they can't get down there and connect that cable under the tree so they can get out of there. So they have to find a way to get this monster off their backs for a minute. So they mix together this powder, hoping that it will knock it out just long enough so that they can get the tree out. Now that the spray is ready... Ew, it's sticky! It worked. He was able to get the cable around the tree, and now he's in the surface.
Get ready with that winch.
Her name is Kay. And she's your fiance. Show some respect. Oh, wait, man. He means the thing pulling up the cable. My bad. It's working, but they don't notice that the Gilman is climbing into the boat. But now, based on how this has happened throughout the entire movie, the first person to see and react is... Yes, we get it. He scares you. Although I figure after some point, you'd get a little bit used to it to where you don't scream every time. Maybe just like look over and go, "Hey, you guys!" The creature takes Kay to the underground cave. And during this scene, the stuntman accidentally scraped the actress Julie Adams' head against the cave really badly. Because that suit he could barely see. Eventually, David finds her.
David.
Do you have some aspirin? But the Gilman is still there! Duh! That doesn't kill it?
No more. Let him go.
Seriously, you guys suck. Horace was able to kill that creature with one shot.
No.
Dude, at this point, you should want it to be dead. Which it is. It goes down in the deep and we assume it's dead. But we only assume. So there you have it. That's the movie that gave us the final monster of the Universal Monsters, the creature from the Black Lagoon. The movie was a huge success. The box office has kind of gotten lost, but it had a $1.3 million budget. Did way more than that. It did actually spawn 2 sequels. And it got great reviews. Not to mention, but apparently everybody on the set got along really well. Julie Adams says, despite the fact that one scene she scraped her head really bad, she loved the entire cast. Even the 2 stuntmen it took, because it actually took 2 stuntmen to pull off the Gilman. The one that did stunts on the land, one that did stunts on the water. Amazingly, the one that did stunts in the water, there were times that he would sit there in the water and hold his breath for 4 minutes. Which he said in scenes where he wasn't doing anything, just sitting there wasn't as difficult as when he was swimming around. He said swing around, you can hold your breath for about 2 minutes. Sitting there, about 4. Either way, it's an amazing feat, considering this is, again, way before CGI. There was no such thing back then. Special effects were just practical. So, all that underwater stuff, they were actually filming underwater. Which probably meant that a lot of this stuff took a lot of takes. The thing that kind of irritates me the most about this, though, about the creature from the Black Lagoon, is this is the one that, whereas it got a couple of sequels, they basically did this movie, did a couple of sequels, and then that's been it. We've gotten countless Dracula movies, Frankenstein movies, several Mummy movies, several variations of The Invisible Man, gotten a little bit of The Bride of Frankenstein here and there. Usually it's in a Frankenstein movie, but we've gotten many Wolfman movies, and the Phantom of the Opera has become straight up opera to where they've even made movies about it, the biggest one starring Gerard Butler. But we haven't really gotten a lot of Creature from the Black Lagoon movies. And apparently they've tried. John Landis, the American Werewolf in London creator, he was actually going to head up a remake to The Creature from the Black Lagoon in 1982. But it just kind of fizzled out and nothing ever came of it. John Carpenter was going to do a remake in 1992. But nothing ever came of it. In 1995, there was a remake that was actually written, there was a script for it, and it was offered to Peter Jackson. But he wanted to focus on remaking King Kong. In 1996, Ivan Reitman was going to do it, but again, just never materialized. And that's just to name a few. There have been more and more plans to remake this movie with some top-name directors, but nothing ever came of it. All the way until 2012, it was planned, but nothing. Then it was supposed to be rebooted when they were going to do the whole Dark Universe thing. That was supposed to start with The Mummy, the Tom Cruise one. But that was such a critical flop that nothing materialized out of that one. We got no Invisible Man with Johnny Depp. We got no Frankensteins. Nothing. Thanks, Tom Cruise. However, this year, a few months ago, back in August, it was announced that James Wan is in talks to direct a remake. And I honestly don't know how to feel about it. I want there to be another Creature from the Black Lagoon movie. Because honestly, in my opinion, this is like the most underrated of the Universal monsters. We hardly ever see a Creature from the Black Lagoon. The only one I can think of outside of this that I've ever actually seen is from the movie Monster Squad. I would love to see a more modern, updated version. But now my problem is like most of these remakes, it's probably just going to be some big, huge, long CGI fest, and that's going to be the end of it. But you know what? I think I more lean towards, well, let's give it a shot. Maybe it can be good. Because ultimately, I would just love a few more merman stories. Especially because maybe there'll also be merchandising. Because even when it comes to merchandising, I see ton of Dracula, ton of Frankenstein, ton of Wolfman, ton of the Mummy, sure. Not so much Invisible Man. Or maybe I do see it and I don't notice. I even say Bride of Frankenstein and Phantom of the Opera stuff. Only once in a blue moon do I see stuff for the Creature of the Black Lagoon. So much so that people forget that it is one of the Universal monsters. So let's fix that. And as far as the movie itself, in my opinion, it's one of the best of the Universal monsters. I haven't really ranked them yet. Maybe I'll get to that eventually in the future. But at this point, I would say it's up there. It's really intriguing and it gets you right in. And it's also sad to think about this movie when it was first made was made for 3D. So people watch this in 3D. By the time I've been born, I have not seen a copy sold in 3D. Maybe they should, because I would love to see this movie in 3D. That would be awesome. So on that note, if you have not seen The Creature from the Black Lagoon, then I recommend you go check out the original Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's awesome. So there you have it. That's my movie review this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications for when I post new videos, and leave a comment I can respond to in my next comment corner. Tell me what you thought of The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Tell me your favorite Universal monster. Love you guys.